I'm alive. Welcome back for another live stream, everyone. First proper stream of the season. Thank you all for being here. Some of you may have tuned in last week. I did a live stream from Fantasy Football Fest, which was a messy stream to say the least. I was absolutely hammered and it was so loud. There were hundreds of people at the venue. But yeah, I attempted to do a live stream last week with FPL, Harry and Raptor. Which was an interesting experience. I don't know if I'll do it again, but thank you to those of you that made it last week. But we're here for the first stream of the season, first proper stream, so thanks all for being here. I've lost my voice a little bit. I went out last night, but I didn't have too many because I was conscious of doing the deadline stream this morning. Welcome to the stream, Benji, Charlie, Nima in the chat, Pablo, Rehan, Rob, Cheekstar, Jar, Vipin, Praffle, Francis, and many more. Thank you for being here. We've got 500 tuning already. Awesome turnout. So yeah, as you can see, this is my team for Gameweek 2 on screen. I have made the switch. If you missed it, I went Kane to Haaland. I've eaten humble pie and I've made that switch, regrettably. I wish that Kane had worked out and he got a return against Southampton, but it wasn't to be. In hindsight, probably a mistake, but I felt it was worth the gamble. So there we go. I feel quite good about the team this week. We've got 11 players all playing at home. Flandy in the chat, welcome to the stream, Flandy. Nima says, thanks for bringing me on as a guest last week, bro. There was a lot of love for Nima in the chat when you made your cameo last week. Excellent FPL manager, Nima. Definitely go check out his podcast, Net That Hall, if you aren't aware of it. We've got X-Jerry in the chat, welcome. He says, James or Bailey? If this is who to start, I think I would start Bailey, but that's a really tough one. There's not much in it. I've had some similar questions about James or Gabriel as well, but I think James is the highest ceiling pick, and you know, historically Spurs have struggled against Chelsea, so it wouldn't at all surprise me if Chelsea give a clean sheet. But I would say I'd probably go Bailey between the two myself. Morning, Max. How we doing, mate? Welcome to the stream, everyone. Nima says, Shemba didn't manage to move Gabriel back to Zinchenko pre-deadline. No! Well, you want Zinchenko? You know what? I watched Zinchenko in pre-season and he wasn't really that involved in the attack. And the game was on while we were at Fest, so we didn't really have a chance to properly watch it. But from what I gathered, he wasn't that involved in the attack either. I think he headed a ball back across the box, which was Martinelli's goal. But welcome to the stream, everyone. Get your questions in. We've got loads to talk about. We'll do a news roundup in a minute in case there's anything you missed. We'll have a look at the scout selection for Gameweek 2, the predicted points, most transferred players. We'll do a captain poll as well. So I appreciate you all being here. Crazy turnout already. We've got 690 tuned in. Less than an hour away till the deadline. Aish in the chat. How we doing, Aish? She says, James Ward-Prowse or Salah? Ward-Prowse. Morning, Ines. Ko Chan says, Mount to Foden. I don't know if I'd make that switch myself, Mount to Foden. It's a really difficult one for Mount owners because he was flying in pre-season and then it didn't really happen last game week against Everton. And I was really bullish on Mount. I thought he probably would have got something there and he didn't. And now it's obviously an even tougher fixture. It's a tough one. I think I'd be tempted to hold myself. I feel like this early on, a roll transfer is invaluable. So I think I'd probably roll if that was me. Matty Boy says, who should I captain, Salah or Haaland? That is the big question this week. We'll have a look at the predicted points in a minute in terms of which players projected to score higher. But honestly, I think it's a coin toss this week. Let me know in the chat, who have you got the armband on? Salah, Haaland, or is anyone going anyone else? I've seen a few Cancelo captainers out there. Nick Plater says, any dancing on your own last night, mate? No, not last night. No. It was my mate's birthday, so we went to this thing in London. It's like bingo, but like a drinking version. So you just get like hammered while you're playing bingo, basically. It was really good, actually. David Adatsy says, Raya or Ward? I would start Raya between the two. Looks pretty mixed in the chat. Luca's on Captain Haaland. So is Christian. Suzanne's on Salah. Couple of KDB captainers. Victor's on Jesus. Okay. It's more divided than I thought it would be. I thought it would be generally that everyone's on Haaland, but maybe not. Jerry says Trippier or James. Trippier. Shah or Dina. Andreas, thank you for renewing the membership for 7 months. Must be one of the longest standing members. He says, this week there'll be 2 groups of managers. The reasonable people will be captaining Mitrovic and idiots who don't. I don't know about that one. Maybe. You know what? Mitrovic really surprised me. Everyone overlooked him Gameweek 1 because we all thought he wouldn't get anything against Liverpool. And he ends up putting in a man of the match performance. Scores 2 against Liverpool. If he scores again this week, I can see the template really shifting quickly. And likewise, if Nunez scores, I wouldn't be at all surprised if there's a shift to a front 3 in the template. But right now, I think it's back 4 is the template, somewhere on a back 5, which is pretty template as well. But thanks for renewing the membership. If anyone's interested in becoming a member or a patron, the links are in the description, or it's the join button below the stream. There's perks like, obviously, you get badged by your name, you get early access to my videos, there's a private channel on the Discord. So, yeah, check it out if you're interested. Nima says, doubt he'll get many assists like that again, just annoying, as I had Zinchenko for a month, and then swapped to Gabriel. Mount over Cooley was way worse, though. I regret every game week. FPL is well and truly back. It is well and truly back. You know what would seal the deal that FPL is well and truly back is if Kane outscores Haaland this game week. That really would be classic FPL, right? But yeah, has anyone else got their eye on Darwin? I'm certainly looking at him. If he gets something this week, I can really see people moving for him fast, because I'm on Luis Diaz. He was unlucky to blank last game week, but I've got one eye on Nunez. I think he's going to have an excellent season. It was just, I'm not sure if he was going to start Game Week 1 or not, basically. And yeah, as it played out, he didn't start, but of course he got points off the bench anyway. Do a very quick news roundup. Leicester are set to complete their first summer signing Smithies, goalkeeper. So basically good news if anyone's on Ward or on the Ward and Iverson double up, because Smithies is going to be third choice goalkeeper. So it looks like we've got a whole season of a 4 mil guaranteed keeper. Some Arsenal news. Smith Rowe was spotted back in training, so perhaps he'll eat into Martinelli's minutes a bit, but right now it's certainly Martinelli's spot to lose in the starting 11. Some Newcastle news. Nick Pope is apparently a doubt for the trip to Brighton. I think they play today. So it could be Dubravka or Darlow ready to deputise in his absence. I don't know. I don't think he's a very popular goalkeeper, Pope, but could affect their clean sheet odds. Maybe those on Trippier. Ten Hag says that Martial and Lindelof will miss the clash with Brentford this game week as well. Really a shame, Martial, because he was flying in pre-season. And lastly, Matip didn't train on Friday, yesterday, and he's a doubt for the game on Monday. Again, I don't know how much this would realistically impact Liverpool's clean sheet odds. I think pretty much all of us are on a Liverpool defender. It'll probably be Gomez that plays if Matip's out, because Konate is injured as well. Rayan says, hi Oscar, best of. You too, mate. Not Nick Pope. Pick Nope. Will Malacia start tonight? Good question. Any Man United fans in the chat think he'll get the nod over Shaw? I don't know if he will yet. I was going to say I'm not sure if he will, but it's just an awful pun. Rohan says, yeah, best of luck for the new season, mate. You too, mate. Thanks for the support. Start Aronson or Wilson? If that's Newcastle Wilson, I would say Wilson, definitely. Hopefully not Fulham's Wilson, because I think he's out for a few months. Akinya says, got a question, mate. Start Mount or Andreas? Mount, definitely. Harry says, have you confirmed your transfer? I have, yeah. I've gone Kane to Haaland. Lucas reckons that Malacia starts over Shaw. Okay. Yeah, I mean, him and Dalot, especially Dalot, I was wondering if they would be a good option from Game Week 1. 4.5 mil, but unfortunately, it looks like same old Man United so far. For the upcoming fixtures, Jesus or Darwin. I think Jesus is just going to be a set and forget for me for the inevitable, for the foreseeable. I mean, you look at this fixture run. There's going to be loads of returns to come over this spell. So for me, he's just an easy hold for the next 6 or 7. Maybe I'll consider moving him around Game Week 8 it does actually line up perfectly because Gameweek 8 is the 18th of September, and then it's a couple of weeks until Gameweek 9 because of the international break. So I think this is the golden wildcard opportunity here between Gameweek 8 and 9, and that's where I've penciled it in if I need it. But I'm not opposed to doing it sooner. I don't know if Neema's still in the chat, but he made an appearance on the last Experts video posted yesterday, and he was saying he's not opposed to an early wildcard around Gameweek 5 or even sooner if need be. So yeah, I think this season you can afford to play a bit more aggressive because we've got the wildcard, the World Cup between Gameweek 16 and 17, and we all get unlimited transfers. So it's almost like two separate games this season. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity to be more aggressive. Neto or Andreas? Neto. Gabriel reckons Shaw will play. I don't think anyone's on Shaw Malacia realistically, but yeah, if if Malacia locks down a spot or Shaw gets injured, could be an interesting one. Kaya Lund says, really feel like taking a punt on Captain Bowen. Oh, big shout. What do we think about Captain Bowen? You know what? Everyone was overlooking him because 8.5 mil was a really awkward price point because there was a load of 8 mil mids. You know, Luis Diaz, Mount, Mahrez, etc. 8.5 for Bowen. Plus they had City Gameweek 1. So I don't think he's in many teams, but Captain Bowen, maybe. I don't know if I would do it myself if I had him. Hellseeker says, Captain Haaland confirmed. Yeah, confirmed. This is 100% how I'm lining up for this game week. No changes for me at this point. I'm locked in. Should we have a look at the scout selection? We like to do this each week and pick it apart. And this is how the scout lining up this week. They've got Sanchez in goal. Back four is Trent, Cancelo, Gabriel and Digne. Don't know how I feel about them having Digne as well. They might have just cursed Digne. They've got Salah, vice-captain, Foden, Martinelli and Harrison. And then the front two is Haaland, captain, and Darwin. So they've gone for the Salah, Haaland and Darwin triple up. And I think a lot of managers are going to shift to this because Darwin looks like he could be awesome this season. What do we think of the scout selection? Raz says, try some Ward out next week. I think if you're ever making a goalkeeper transfer, you've made a mistake unless you've got an injury in goal. You never. I just noticed that my webcam is uncropped at the bottom. How do I fix that? Filters, crop, bottom, 50. That do it? There we go. Perfect. Start White or Andreas? I would start White. FPL Nema says, smash that like button, folks. You heard Nema. We've got 138 likes and about 1,000 watching, so if you're enjoying it so far, do hit like. I always like to prepare lots of content for these deadline streams. A bit more to talk about than just me sitting here fielding questions. But yeah, I think it's a good scout selection this week. 10 out of 11 playing at home. I like the Salah Haaland double up with Darwin as well. It almost feels like having 3 premiums. And I can see myself shifting to this. And if anyone watched the expert video yesterday, Fredo FPL used his bench boost in Game Week 1. And his plan was always to wildcard in Game Week 2, which is what he's done. And he's on the triple up. He's gone Salah, Haaland and Darwin. And he basically said he was trying to predict which direction the game's going to move next. And I think it could move that way. So yeah, that's what he did. He's going for his 7th top 10k finish. Kay says, Villa looked terrible last week. Are you worried about that? I am a bit. I've got 0.5 mil in the bank. So if Digne or Bailey look like a mistake, then I do have the option to move one of them on in Game Week 3. But I am expecting a response. Salah or Haaland? That is the big question this week. Should we do a poll on the captaincy? I think it is honestly a coin toss. I think there's little to separate them. Your captain. One. So we'll go Salah, Haaland. Do we need to add any more? I think we'll add De Bruyne, Cancelo, and other. Great poll. There we go. Go chuck your votes on this. Interested to see who everyone's got the armband on, whether it is heavily Haaland or whether it is fairly split. I think it's going to be heavily Haaland, but I do think it's honestly dead even. So if you're an upside chaser, I think there's an opportunity to go captain Salah over Haaland, because the majority are going to be on Haaland. I mean, it looks like it here. 55, 60% on Haaland. Yashino says, will Riyad Mahrez be a good keep choice for Gameweek 2? It's a really difficult one, Mahrez, because he was benched Gameweek 1. It was Foden and Grealish that started. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that happened again, but I think I'd probably keep him. You know, even off the bench, he's capable of hauling. But yeah, it looks like Haaland's going to be the heavy captain this game week. I imagine he'll be 150 plus EO. Jonathan Bradley, thank you for the donation. He says, Game Week 2, Dyer to Ake / Stones or Ramsdale to Ederson. I don't think I would do Ramsdale to Ederson. I would certainly keep hold of Ramsdale. No reason to sell Ramsdale. And I'm not sure if I would want to do Ake and Stones either. You know, you might get a few more game weeks out of Ake. I don't think Stones is even going to play. It'd be Ake and Ruben Diaz, but I'm not sure if I'd make that move either. I think Dyer's fine, to be honest with you. It's not ideal having to play Dyer against Chelsea, but yeah, the problem with Ake is Laporte could be back in a few game weeks, so it's a very short-term move. If you wanted to make either of those moves, the first one's better, but I wouldn't sell Ramsdale. Andreas or Digne? I would say Digne. I've got those two myself, and I'm starting Digne. Adrian says, why Diaz if he doesn't score much? For me, it was between Luis Diaz and Robertson, and I like the Diaz option slightly more for team shape, because I can still get premium defenders plus have, you know, an 8 mil player in a top 2 side in the front 3. So that was why I went for Diaz, but I do have one eye on him, because I wonder if he's going to be the first one sacrificed if Liverpool are chasing the game, or if it's wrapped up. You know, we saw Carvalho make an appearance off the bench. You know, Jota could be back from injury in a few weeks, so I am mindful of that. I'm not opposed to getting rid of Diaz to move Robertson in, or maybe go to Darwin. My voice is just about holding on. Andreas or Botman? I would go Andreas. I think Botman didn't even start Game Week 1. Levi says 100k before Game Week 3. Where are we at now? We're on 93k. Yeah, it's unbelievable. We're closing in on 100k fast. In pre-season, I set a target 80k by Game Week 1, and in the end, we ended up getting 90k by Game Week 1. So, yeah, thank you all for your support. It means a lot. I don't take it for granted. And thank you for tuning into this deadline stream. Tarek says, did you do any other transfer? No other transfer. It was just Kane to Haaland for me. So this is my team for Game Week 2, locked in. No more changes at this point. Calab says, what do you think about City's new left back? I haven't read up much about him. Gomez, I think it is, isn't it? Gomez. My understanding is that he's not expected to be in the starting 11 anytime soon. Could play with the academy for a bit. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be a threat to Cancelo or Walker right now, immediately. But I don't know much about him as a footballer, to be honest with you. Who did they sign him from? Andreas or Perisic? It's a good question. I imagine there's lots of Perisic owners in the chat. What are you guys doing that you have Perisic? Because I think it is between starting Andreas or Perisic. I think Andreas I'd put ahead of Nico Williams in terms of potential points this week. I think I'd be very tempted to give Andreas the nod myself. Jonathan, thanks for the donation. He says, play Trippier or Andreas. I would start Trippier all day between those two. Anderlecht. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Where's everyone tuned in from this morning? Whereabouts in the world are we? Tag me in a photo of wherever you're watching from. Take a photo of your setup and tag me on Twitter and I'll retweet it. I'd love to see where you guys are tuned in from. DJ Sinclairo got rid of Perisic already. D-Chin is benching Perisic. Multi-gamer says, start Ramsdale or Ward. Ramsdale, 100%. Letharbo says, Sancho to perform. I hope so. I've got him on draft. Certainly not in my main FPL team, but yeah, Sancho was incredible in pre-season. Obviously, as was Martial, and Rashford looked good as well, but yeah, it looked like same old Man United game week 1, so it's a shame. I felt like he would become a good asset at last this season, but not so far. Quite a few from Sweden in the chat. Alex Panchuk's tuning in from Ukraine, Sweden, Hong Kong, Australia, Dublin, Lithuania. My ex is from Lithuania. Actually, on my first date with her, I learnt some Lithuanian to impress her. It blew her mind. Isle of Wight, Morocco, Japan. Greje Atrode. I believe that means you look beautiful. South Africa. Antarctica. God, I didn't know there was good Wi-Fi in Antarctica. Nigeria. Venkatesh says, I couldn't afford Kane to Haaland. Take a hit or no? That's a good question as well, and I think a lot of managers have that dilemma. What I really don't like is that FPL aren't transparent with the price changes. What happened was City scored the brace last Sunday, and then 12 hours later, when the price changes happened, Haaland goes up and Kane goes down, and suddenly there's millions of people locked out of that move. So I don't like the lack of transparency, because you have to use third-party sites. So, especially newer managers are completely punished by that unless they're constantly on top of it. I don't think I'd do it for -4 myself. I would just hold at this point. I don't think it's worth the -4. It's a very, very aggressive move to take that -4. Anyone in chat taking the -4, or are you holding? I imagine there's lots of people out there that are priced out. Yeah, Antarctica. Watching from Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, Hawaii, Nepal, Singapore, Pacific Ocean, the moon. What's the signal like on the moon? Do they play FPL on the moon? Fantasy Premier Moon. Should I keep Doherty? I would get rid of Doherty. I reckon Emerson did enough to keep his spot in Game Week 2, so I'd get rid of him. And regardless, he's playing against Chelsea, so I would bin him off. I'll sink your ship says, loving your content. You're always my go-to for advice and stats. Keep it up, bro. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. Love the name. I'll sink your ship. Yeah, thanks for the support. Appreciate that a lot. A few people on the -4 to get rid of Kane for Haaland. Okay, Martin's done it. Harish has done it. Ido Smajic has done it. Marcel says -4 in Game Week 2, skull emoji. That's the thing. So if you are taking that -4, I think it's also an opportunity to learn a lesson from it. What went wrong that you're taking a -4 in Game Week 2? Because that should never happen. You should never be taking a -4 in Game Week 2 unless there's an injury or something like that. Otherwise it's just not something that should never happen in Game Week 2. So yeah, I think it's also a learning opportunity. That's the best way to learn, right? I've made loads of mistakes on FPL over the years, even last season, and you just learn from them, and then you come back a better manager. The Shadow Man says Salah to KDB. Oh no, definitely not. I wouldn't make that move. 100% not. I think Salah's an easy hold. I do wonder what effect Nunez will have on Salah this season. Whether it'll increase his output or whether it's looking like it'll stay the same or maybe even drop, if Nunez is sharing some of the goals, because last season, it was all Salah in terms of the goals. So yeah, it's something I'm monitoring, but I certainly wouldn't be selling Salah. Should we have a look at the predicted points for Game Week 2? See how the projections are looking, courtesy of FPL Review, which are as follows. Interestingly, FPL Review's marginally got Salah ahead of Haaland. I think the minutes are at play here. They've got Salah on 83 predicted minutes. Haaland's on 77. It looks like Haaland will be on penalties this season after taking one last game. So I think that's something that FPL Review was saying has boosted his predicted points for Game Week 2. But yeah, it's very close. Interesting that Review actually has Salah ahead. Are we completely overlooking Salah, because as we saw on the captain poll, the majority of us are on Haaland. And I think it's a massive opportunity, right? Imagine Haaland gets 1 goal and Salah gets a brace or something like that, and they batter Palace. It's going to be huge rank gains. Yeah, interesting. Trent's third, you know, which just goes to show why we should load up on the premium defenders, because these premium defenders can go toe-to-toe with the actual premiums. Robertson up there, Diaz, Cancelo. Big at the back is definitely the one this season, and I'm not opposed to the back 5. In fact, I saw Fabio Borg and Magnus Carlsen both lined up with a back 5 from Gameweek 1. Yasino says, will you do a World Cup fantasy streams in this channel? Yeah, good question. I was talking to my mates about this last night, because they were asking what am I going to do when the season pauses for the World Cup. I think I'll give it a go. You know, I would say I know a lot less about international football and the World Cup as opposed to the Premier League, because there's just so much more to know. You know, I'd have absolutely no idea if, you know, some random side has a budget midfielder that could emerge from a random country, and but I'll give it a go, definitely. It's something to do, right, over the break. Otherwise, I'll have nothing to do for 6 weeks. So I'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. FPL Nima says, World Cup fantasy is epic. I played the Euros one a couple of seasons ago. That was quite fun, actually. Even more so loading up on the England players. What do you guys think? Should I do the World Cup fantasy? Nima says he'd love a FPL focal mini league for it. Yeah, it'd just be a focal mini league, right? Not FPL focal mini league. World Cup focal mini league. Mohammed says, show the team news. We did the team news at the start now. I've closed the tabs, but if you rewind to about 5 minutes into the stream, we did like a news roundup. Trying to remember what it was. Nick Pope's a doubt for the game. Matip's a doubt for the Palace game. What else was it? Can't remember what else we had. Smith Rowe's back in training. Could eat away at Martinelli's minutes a bit. Won't start ahead of him, but could eat away his minutes. Alright, yeah, I'll do the World Cup fantasy. Quick look at who the most transferred players are. You can probably guess who number 1 is. These numbers are live. It is Haaland. 1.1 million managers have brought in Haaland ahead of Gameweek 2. Second is Zinchenko, 632,000. Third, Mitrovic. Martinelli's up there. Kulusevski. I think all of these guys have had price rises, actually. Gross as well. Is Gross the first trap of the season, or is he going to keep it up? Brighton's fixtures look really good, by the way. One on the watch list for sure. And most transferred out. Of course, it's Kane. 857,000 managers have sold Kane. Perisic is second, 380,000. Jesus, what do we think about that? Not sure about Jesus. Third, 365k have sold him. 240k have sold Son. Everyone's dumping the Spurs assets. Cash, 191k. Trent, 190k have sold Trent. 160k Diaz. Some of these are going to really backfire. I'll tell you what. Jesus, Trent and Luis Diaz, I think, are going to backfire spectacularly. And overall ownership, Jesus is on the brink of going underneath 70%. I think he's already set the record for ownership, which was set last season by Salah. I think Jesus got above that, but he has dropped underneath it since. Salah's second, Haaland's third, Trent, Cancelo, James, Nico, Martinelli, Ward. Ward's 26% here. Those of you that watched the expert series yesterday will notice that Trent was 100% owned among the experts, and Ward was something like 95% owned. That was the other piece of news from the news roundup. Leicester have signed Smithy's goalkeeper, and he'll be their third choice goalkeeper. So in other words, we have a definite formal keeper for the entirety of this season. Likely to be Ward for the season, could be Overson, but either way, we'll have a definite formal keeper. Kulusevski to Foden worth it? No, definitely not. I wouldn't make that move, Alf. Kulusevski looked brilliant. best player on the pitch Gameweek 1 in that Spurs side. So I would say no, definitely hold Kulu. I'm even looking at him for Gameweek 3 because Tottenham have got such a good run of fixtures. I don't know if we can pull up the fixtures here or not. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, look at Tottenham's fixtures here. Wolves at home, Forest away, West Ham away, Fulham at home. Those 4 fixtures there, there's going to be loads of points there. And everyone's shifting on Kane and Son, myself included, but I think there's a massive opportunity there. And maybe Kulu's the answer. I know they've got Richarlison, who could be a threat to his minutes, but Kulu's undoubtedly the first choice. Thank you everyone that has tuned in so far. If you're enjoying the stream, please do hit subscribe to the channel. I do live streams every week and weekly FPL videos and content, so appreciate you all being here. We've got 1,300 tuned in. Great to have you all here. Thanks for tuning in. Transfer Cash to Walker. I would give that move another week. I think it's a wasted transfer. I think you're better off rolling for the extra flexibility. Reece or Perisic? Reece. Captain Haaland or Bowen? For me, Haaland. Big Ash says, triple captain today or any other chips? Not for me, not today. The chips are generally best used in the double game weeks. Not the wild card, but the triple captain's generally best used in a double game week because you've got a player playing twice. So there's more chances of them getting a return. And there will be double game weeks for teams like Liverpool and Man City this season. So, you know, there's going to be options to play the triple captain on Salah or Haaland when they have 2 fixtures in one game week. And likewise, the bench boost is often well used in a double game week because you've got a bench that plays twice. So there's massive upside there. How are we doing for time? We've got about half an hour, just under, till the deadline. Rashford to Martinelli. I actually quite like that move, but I'm not sure if I'd make it myself. I think you can afford to give Rashford one more week. I don't hate that move at all though. I think Martinelli's great value. One of the top value mids in the game in my opinion. Sally says, what are your predictions for Leicester v Arsenal today? I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal. I went 2-0 Arsenal game week 1. Got that one bang on. So I'm going to go for 3-0 Arsenal today. I'm going to say a Saka goal, a Jesus goal, and a Martinelli goal. The big 3. Salah or Haaland for captain? That was honestly a coin toss in my opinion. I'm on Haaland, but I think they are equally good. FPL Review had Salah slightly ahead of Haaland on the predicted points, so if you want to back the algorithm, go Salah. But there's not much to separate them. I think Haaland's going to be by far the most popular this game week, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's the best option either. But it is hard to overlook Man City at home to a newly promoted side. I think they win comfortably. I wouldn't be at all surprised if City win 4-0. Maybe 5-0. I think Liverpool will beat Palace, but you wouldn't be surprised if it's more like a 2-0 sort of game. You know, Palace looked really good game week 1, even though they couldn't put any past Arsenal. MCFC Flair says, who to bench out of Neto, James and Bailey? I think I'd bench James between those 3. Tough one, but I think I'd bench James. You know, Chelsea still finding their feet. They've just signed Koulibaly. They've just signed Cucurella. In fact, it'd be interesting to see if Cuckoo starts this one. Came off the bench last game. But yeah, I think I'd bench James myself. I think you play the fixtures. Reece or Perisic? Reece. Wissa or Mikalenko? I think Wissa. Mendy to Edison. No, I wouldn't make that move. I would recommend avoiding goalkeeper transfers whenever possible. They're rarely worth it. it tends to be outfield where the transfers are worth making, not in goal. Ghost Johnson says Perisic or transfer out for someone else. I think I would keep hold of Perisic at this point. You know, from Gameweek 3, he looks like an awesome pick. So I think at this point you probably just keep hold. Keep Ward or Iverson or try to upgrade. I would keep. Yeah, it's not worth spending a transfer and goal in my opinion. Bench James or Andreas. I've got both and I've benched Andreas. Saka or Jesus. The thing is, there's a lack of strikers in the game, so that's why Jesus is especially appealing, because he takes up a striker spot where there's far less options. Whereas when you look at the midfielders, there's so many options that, you know, if you don't get Saka, they've got 6 or 7 other 8 mil midfielders, let alone other price points. So that's why Jesus is such a popular pick. Ayush, thank you for becoming an FPL member. About bloody time, mate. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that, Ayush. If you link your YouTube account to Discord, Ayush, you'll get access to the private channel on Discord. The members club. I'm on there chatting every day, and there's early access to videos and some other benefits. So thanks for that, Ayush. Appreciate that. Man or Diaz? Diaz. Bailey or Neto? Neto. Prediction for Villa v Everton. I'm going to go 2-0 Villa. Everton are in real trouble. I think they are at risk of relegation this season. You know, they've got Calvert-Lewin out for a month, maybe longer. So it's Rondon is probably going to start up top. Or maybe they'll line up similarly to Gameweek 1 without a striker. But yeah, it's not good. Not looking good. I imagine they'll sign a striker this window. I think they were being linked with Broja at one point, but yeah, I think they desperately need a striker. Can't go into the season with Rondon as your first choice striker for the opening 4 or 5 weeks. Digne or Cash? I wouldn't be looking to bring in either at this point, but if it's who to start, I would say Digne, because he takes set pieces. Maddison to Harrison. I don't think I'd make that move either. I would keep hold of Maddison. He's a quality player. He can get you returns against any team in any game week. Broja or Saka? Saka. Hit for Mahrez? Definitely not. Mahrez didn't even start Game Week 1. There's no guarantee he starts Game Week 2, so I wouldn't make that transfer myself. If anyone's not a member of the fplfocal Discord, it's a genuinely good FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes, the lineups, the live scores, live points, bonus points, game week stats, injury updates, and you can actually pick which alerts you want to receive on your phone. So for example, if you wanted to know who the price changes were every night, you can just click here and then you'll get pinged every night. And likewise for other updates like top 10k stats, injury updates, etc. I'll spam the link in the chat if you are interested in joining that. There you go. Click that link and join if you're interested. I'll be on there all weekend for the games as they unfold. We've got the live match channel where it gets a bit hectic during the games. Always a range of emotions in live match. Liam Murdoch says, no way, that's his normal voice. It's not. My voice is screwed. I went out last night and I've lost my voice a bit. Yeah, my throat's not in good shape this morning. But I did drink responsibly because I was conscious of doing the deadline stream this morning. But yeah, I was singing a bit too loud to the music with my mates. Cash or Bailey? I would start Bailey. I think you just favour the attacker. Zanny says, love your content, mate. Short, simple and sweet. Appreciate that, Zanny. My streams tend to be as well. I can't do like these 2-hour streams that some YouTubers are able to do. Massive respect that they're able to hold out for 2 hours. For me, it's like 1 hour and I'm done. Spurs v Chelsea predictions. Yeah, predictions in the chat. How do we think that one's going to play out? Should we do a few predictions? Spurs v Chelsea, what do we think? It's Chelsea at home, so Chelsea v Spurs. I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea. Or do we reckon Spurs can put one past Chelsea? Luca reckons 2-2 draw. Volcan says 3-1 to Spurs. Interesting. Predicting lots of goals. Adrian's gone 2-2. 1-2. 2-2. Alright, what do we think for Man City v Bournemouth? Scoreline predictions. Man City v Bournemouth. It's got to be what we think is going to happen, not what we want to happen. Because I would want it to be 10-0. Man City v Bournemouth, what do we reckon? I reckon it's going to be a battering. I honestly think it's going to be 4-0. But I also think Bournemouth are going to sit deep, and I wonder if that's going to affect Haaland's chances of returns. Because, you know, Gameweek 1, it was those balls in behind. KDB feeding Haaland. West Ham were caught out a few times by that. Whereas I imagine Bournemouth are going to sit very deep. I imagine that's how Silva will line them up. I still think City will manage to break them down, but we'll see. I do think it's going to be a battering, though. Brian's gone 4-0 City. DO6 has gone 3-0. CJ's gone 6-0. Mike... Oh, nearly read that one out. That is such a bait username. Last name Hunt. First name Mike has gone 5-0. Alan's gone 6-0. That is genius. Pep2 says Haaland will score 6 goals. Sounds about right. Hasse says, thanks for the stream. He's got Ward, Iverson, Trent Castillo, Robert-Dina, Nico, Salah, Grealish, Martinelli, Bailey, Andreas, Vardy and Kane. Besides the obvious Kane move, what other moves do you think are worth doing? Whether it's Gameweek 2 or after? Yeah, I'd say the obvious move is Kane to Haaland. Beyond that, I would say Vardy to Nunez in Gameweek 3 potentially, depending on what happens with Liverpool. But it's an awkward one because you are tripled up and it would require selling Robbo. But it's a good team, to be honest, a really good team, and I think you can afford to roll in Gameweek 3. Yeah, I would say Kane to Haaland's the obvious move there. Great usernames. So yeah, if you missed it, this is how I'm lining up for Game Week 2. I did Kane to Haaland. Haaland's my captain. I'm eating humble pie. Made the mistake with the Kane pick, but it is what it is. The season is long. No reason to panic this early. I'm happy with the team. The whole 11 players at home this game week. So here's to a hopeful good score. Start Raya or Ward? I would start Raya. Should I replace Rashford? I'd probably give Rashford one more week. Alright, scoreline predictions. Liverpool v Palace. What do we think? Sandeep says, Focal, you copied me. I did copy you, Sandeep. But you said you were copying me, so how does that work? Stuck in an infinite loop. Should I remove Son for Haaland? I wouldn't do it because that's going to require -4. It's impossible to make that move for free in Game Week 2, so I wouldn't do it. At this point, you're just going to have to ride it out. It's not worth the -4. Oh, a lot of people are predicting a Palace goal. Quite a lot of 3-1 predictions. Bernardo reckons 2-1. Huwadi says 11-0. Dylan says 2-0 Liverpool. No one predicting a Palace win. Lucas has gone 3-0. Christian 1-0 says Shedderman. We've got about 10 minutes to the deadline. Please do hit like on the stream if you have enjoyed it so far. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit subscribe. Get involved. I post videos every game week, so loads of content to come this season. Next game week, ahead of game week 3, I'm planning to do 4 videos. Still 13 minutes till the deadline. Make sure you've got your bench in the right order. That's a big one. Make sure you got your captaincy sorted, your team locked, everything saved. Wallaza says 5-0 Liverpool, Nunez hat-trick, cue the next great migration. I'll tell you what, if Nunez gets a hat-trick or even a brace, there is going to be some migration to Nunez. I won't be surprised if people were binning off Jesus for him, Vardy for him, Kane for him, even Haaland for him, because people are very reactionary in the early game weeks. You know, say if Haaland scored once and Nunez gets a hat-trick, people are going to just bin off Haaland just like that. Omkar says, morning, start 2 of James, Digne, Gabriel and Diaz. Definitely I'd start Diaz. I'd say it's between Digne and Gabriel. Probably Gabriel. Not ideal though to be benching James and Digne, I have to say. Yeah, you can always bench boost that. Probably Gabriel and Diaz, I would say. Mike says, Jesus braced today, 3-0 to the Arsenal. That would be great. But to be honest, how great would it be really? Because everyone's on Jesus. There's barely any rank movement if he gets a hat-trick. But yeah, as we saw, surprisingly, he's one of the most sold players heading into Gameweek 2. 365,000 have sold Jesus ahead of the deadline. So I think he's down about 3% ownership. Bench James or Mount. I would bench James between those. Just remembered I made this transition. I haven't even used it on a stream before. Do you like that one? And the other one is that. Looks a bit cleaner with a nice transition, doesn't it? Gray says, thoughts on the Vardy party? I don't think there's going to be a Vardy party. I'd be tempted to keep hold, but I think the replacement is obvious, right? Is Vardy 9.5 or is he 9? But yeah, there's a clear route from Vardy to Nunez, isn't there? Maybe in Game Week 3 you make that move. Mohammed says you don't respond to Arabs, question mark. I respond to everyone. Eamon says Walker or Zinchenko. If that's who to start, that's a really tricky one. It's not good to be benching both because they're both great picks for this game week. I'd probably start Walker, but there's not much between the two. Sahab says Bailey bench. No way. There's no way. What's the first game of today? It is Villa, isn't it? Ornstein. I'm just checking if there's any last minute news actually. Just seen this one. Ornstein says Tyrone Mings is expected to start for Villa v Everton after losing the captaincy and being an unused substitute at Bournemouth. The centre back is set for a recall by Gerrard to partner Carlos, so it's going to be Consa benched. There's nothing about Bailey. In fact, there's quite a lot of FPL people in the replies. Nothing about Bailey. But we'll keep our eye out just in case we get any last minute news before the deadline, but I'll be surprised. Let me just load up my leaks list on Twitter in case there's anything that comes through last minute. If there is, I'll let you know. Keep your questions coming in. We've got about 8 minutes till the deadline. We've got adverts in the chat. Are you tired of being alone? We'll help you. Kiss emoji. The chat's moving so fast I can't even ban them. There we go. Is it that one? Oh dear. Yeah, keep the questions coming in. James or Trippier? I think Trippier. Bailey or Andreas? Bailey. Ward or Raya? Raya. Best 6 mil or less midfielder? Martinelli. Bailey or Mount? Mount. Can I captain Nunez? You can do what you want, but it's a very risky one, I would say. I think Haaland and Salah are better picks. Tarek says, where's your little dog? That's actually a good question. Teddy? I don't know where he is. I have no idea where he is. I think he's not in the mood for a stream this morning. What he normally does, when I get up in the mornings, he goes back under my duvet and he sleeps for longer. He's not much of an early riser, so he's probably asleep still. Carl says, why aren't you #1 in the world again yet? I know, it's terrible, isn't it? What am I doing? I can tell you for a fact I won't get to #1 again. You just need absolutely everything to go perfectly. You know, you have to have an extremely good Gameweek 1. So, yeah, I don't expect that to happen again. In fact, I'll be very, very surprised if a YouTuber ever does it again. You know, it'd never been done before in, what, 20 years of FPL, and I'd be surprised if it happens again, just because you need so much luck as well. You know, I had lots of luck as well on my run to #1 last season. Darwin or Jesus? I actually think Darwin, but Jesus is a very good pick, so I think both. I think there's going to be a shift to a front three if Darwin returns this game week. And likewise if Mitrovic does. We've got 1,500 tuned in and we've got 5 minutes till the deadline. If you are enjoying the stream, please do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you all being here. Thanks for tuning into the deadline stream. 5 minutes till the deadline. 8 Nori or Saliba? Saliba. Yeah, Saliba. He looks some talent. I'm looking at him because he looked absolutely quality in pre-season, quality in Gameweek 1. I did wonder what Tomiyasu's effect will be on him because he's back in training now. But right now, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So I think he's going to be nailed in centre-back. Maybe it'll be White and Tomiyasu that rotate. But yeah, he looks absolutely class. He's got that aura about him, that Van Dijk presence. Absolutely quality defender, and he's so young as well. Just checking if there's any last-minute news or leaks or anything like that. Keep the questions coming. We've got about 5 minutes till the deadline. Walker or Cancelo? I mean, they're totally different assets. They're 2 mil apart, and you get what you pay for. Walker has so much less attacking threat, whereas Cancelo, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he picks up a return today. So involved. You know, Pep was using Walker and Cancelo as inverted fullbacks. So, you know, at times Cancelo was tucking inside and playing like a central attacking mid. So yeah, you get what you pay for. There'll be lots of attacking returns for Cancelo. Walker less so. Bench James, Bailey or Neto? I think I'd bench James out of those three, but that's a tough dilemma, that one. Foden can start. I would guess Foden starts, but it's hard to say. Last game week it was Grealish down the left, Foden down the right, and it was Mahrez on the bench. But, you know, it could easily be Grealish and Mahrez, or it could be Foden and Mahrez. I imagine he starts. Ings or Bernardo Silva? Between those two, Bernardo Silva. But I don't think I'd get either, to be honest with you. I think Bernardo Silva was actually benched last game week. You know, he's been rumoured of a transfer away to Barca. If that happens, I've got one eye on Gundogan. He could be an interesting pick. And if you ever read any last minute news in the chat, take it with a massive pinch of salt, because it could be a troll. You know, especially people are saying Bailey's bench and that sort of thing. Never make a last-minute decision based on something you read in chat. Make sure you look up a verified source. Start Dewsbury Hall or Dunk? Dunk. Will Trippier start? Yes. Should I bank on Mount? I would. I think Mount will come good. Yeah, people are saying Bailey bench. Take it with a massive pinch of salt. Because no one knows. There's absolutely no news. If there was any news that came out, then I would see it here and I'd be able to tell you. But there is nothing as far as Villa. All we know is that Mings is going to return to Villa's starting 11. Konsa benched. Oh, is it Boona? FPL Boona is the biggest troll going in FPL. Not good enough says, imagine if Haaland was benched. That would be typical FPL. You know, if Haaland got benched and Kane outscores him or something like that. Or even if he starts and Kane outscores him. 1 minute till the deadline. Final reminder to lock your teams in. Make sure you got your captaincy sorted. Bench in the right order. So yeah, this is my team. I scheduled a tweet while we've been live sharing my team. This is how I line up for Game Week 2. Haaland captain, Salah vice. Pingu says, which to play out of Neto, Perisic and Andreas? I would play Neto and Andreas. Ivan Blocks in the chat, how we doing, mate? Says, best of luck, Focal. 1 free transfer used to get Kane in your team. Yeah, I've made the Kane to Haaland switch, if you mean Haaland. I sold Kane and I've brought Haaland in. Yeah, frustrating one how that played out, because there was 4 goals for Spurs, but nothing from Kane. And obviously I'm a transfer behind the masses now, but it is what it is. The season is long. Not worried. Entire team plays at home this week as well. Anyone else got their whole 11 playing at home? Is that it? Is that time? Rodrigo says, and time. Mike says locked. That's it. That is the deadline right there. Appreciate you all tuning in to this deadline stream with me. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, before you go, can you hit like on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I do these deadline streams every game week and I post lots of videos throughout the week, so lots to come during the week. Good luck this game week, everyone. I hope you get the green arrows that you are hoping for. Adam says locked. Locked in. 11 at home for Ash as well. St. Nico's only player away is Rashford. Mike says, all the best, guys. Trini says, well done, Oscar. Thank you. Appreciate that, Trini. Paul says, Kane hat-trick. Yeah, that would be absolutely classic FPL if Kane goes and gets a hat-trick or even outscores Haaland. Because, you know, as we saw on the most transferred players, 1.1 million brought in Haaland. By far the most popular transfer. And the most popular transfer out was Kane. So a huge swing in ownership there. We saw the same on the expert series. 88% that were making a transfer was selling Kane for Haaland. $85 points Game Week 1 for Paul. How many points did you guys get in Game Week 1? A couple of 50-50 calls I got wrong in Game Week 1. Mainly it was Kane over Haaland. You know, I would have been well in the 70s if I'd gone Haaland instead. I was looking at Gabriel over Digne as well, which was another one that would have been better, but I didn't want to lock myself out of the Arsenal triple up if I did want to go to Diaz to Saka further down the line. Carl got 70. Good score. Mad Alex got 67. Tango got 70. If anyone hasn't joined the FPLfocal Mini League, there is a link to that in the description. It's not too late. Your points restart from Game Week 1, so Get involved if you are not in the league already. A-Man got 78, very nice. 83 for MA. 46 for Oliver. 94 for Braze. She must be around the top of the mini league with that score. Aiden got 74 and had Kane. Oh, what could have been. St. Nico says, thanks Oscar, awesome as usual. Got 62 points in Gameweek 1. Good luck everyone. So yeah, that's it. I'm not going to stick around for any longer. I appreciate you all tuning in. It's been a really good stream. I have enjoyed it. Thank you all for swinging by. And before you go, please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Lots more streams to come all season, every game week, and lots of videos as well. So thank you all for being here. If you're not on the fplfocal Discord, I'll chuck the link in the chat. I'll be on there after the stream wraps up. And I'll be on there throughout the game week. So yeah, appreciate you all tuning in. Thanks for that, and I'll see you soon. Focal out.